Hello, teachers. There is something that is really interesting and I'd like to share with you. I haven't known about before that, but once I knew about it, it made a great difference in my teaching. And at the same time, it opened new avenues for me related to a lot of problems that I was facing in the classroom, and those included classroom management problems and other disturbance problems in the classroom. This thing is related to Bloom's taxonomy, and as you know, most of the teachers know only one domain of Bloom's taxonomy, which is the cognitive domain or the thinking levels. But this is actually not everything about Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy, I discovered, according to this paper, has two extra domains, and those include the affective domain and the psychomotor domain. What is interesting about these two extra domains, that the affective domain, as the name suggests, works on, the development of emotions, and the psychomotor domain works on the development of behavior. So what is the benefit of integrating these two domains in your lesson plans and your tasks or activities in the classroom? They can help you create a kind of comprehensive tasks and activities that not only work on the development of language skills and aspects, or even help you integrate the 21st century skills, but they can also help you to develop your students' personalities and to develop their behaviors, because each domain of these two extra domains consists of a set of levels, and each level has a set of action verbs to correspond to the development of that level. So try to consider with me, in this page, the author of the paper combines all the action verbs related to all of the three domains. As you can see, the cognitive domain first, with its 6 levels, and besides each level, there is a set of action verbs that we make use of in setting our lesson objectives and the assessment assets in the classroom, and designing our activities and tasks in the classroom using those action verbs. And then moving to the affective domain, we'll find that we have 5 levels, starting from receiving, which is the bottom level, and characterization, the top one, and finally the psychomotor domain, consisting of 5 levels, starting from the imitation, which is the bottom, and naturalization, or moving up to naturalization, which is the top level. Okay, so I'd like to relate these 2 levels to the problems that we are facing in the classroom. And to mention some of these problems are related, as you know, to classroom management, behaviors, and emotions, dealing with emotions like anger, behaviors like bullying, interrupting, making noise, moving around, taking others' objects, overindulgence, unresponsiveness, lying, lack of commitment, and all of these are recurrent problems that we all face in our classrooms. What we have to know is that those behavior and emotional problems that interrupt and disrupt our work in the classroom, and I mean disrupting our attempts to make the language learning smoother, or to deliver our jobs smoothly. So one solution to this is to integrate the action verbs corresponding to the levels of each domain in activities in order to help solve those problems. And needless to say that coming up with a solution to any of these problems, and I mean a prompt or immediate solution. This is, something that is beyond possible. Behavior and emotional problems need time to resolve. So what we need to do is design activities at one level. Let's say, for example, some of my students or one of my students have anger episodes. Okay, so why not to design a task or activity that targets that emotion, and I have to work at one level, because the solution has to be gradual. So I have to work at one level at a time for a good span of time or a good period of time in order to make that as a habit. For example, moving or going back to the anger episode, I want my golden goal is to help my student be quieter and to be able to respond when he or she is exposed to something provocative. So I have to teach those students first the skill of listening, that they have to listen first to be able to relax and listen. So this is the basic action or response to the emotion they have to learning to listen. So you can create a set of tasks over a week or two or even a month in order to help your students to build a habit, to teach them to be able to listen to the other party when they face something provocative. Okay, so this has to span over a good period of time. Once the value of listening or the habit of listening is built and everything's okay, we can move on up to another level, which is the level of responding. Students learn that when they're exposed to something provocative or apprehensive, they need to respond rather than react, because reacting means giving emotion or strong emotion backward, and this is not required. Learning to respond is very important, and it takes time as well. So we may design activities or tasks using action verbs like follow, be aware, control, by introducing scenarios that students learn to control their emotion and respond appropriately to the situation. Again, this has to span over a good period of time until it becomes a habit. Having done that, we move up to another level, which is valuing. We start, or the student starts to value the other person's point of view and to be able to express their own convictions and emotions. In other words, being able to act. Again, a set of activities can be designed to work on this level of expressing when you are exposed to something provocative. Try to express yourself appropriately. Try to value and appreciate the other side. Never react. Then the higher level or the level above this is organization. And organization means I develop the skill of convincing and persuading, to express my preferences and to try to negotiate and persuade the other person with my point of view. It's not personal. It's not a matter of that I have victory upon the other person by getting angry, but it's a matter of negotiation, and this takes a substantial amount of time to happen. But the point is to consider these issues in the design of your tasks and activities. And the top of all of these levels is characterization. That those actions or this sequence of events becomes part of the student's personality and character, because Your goal throughout those activities and tasks is to help build the character of your student. And instead of being quickly angry and provoked by situations, to be able to control and manage those situations. Okay, so once more again, it's very important to consider the emotional dimension when you design your activities in the classroom. So as we are concerned about the integration of the 21st century skills in our assessment assets, we have to be equally concerned about the development of our students' emotions in the design of our tasks and activities. Okay, so this is one side, and it's really interesting, and it was a kind of a light lamp for me in dealing with a lot of classroom problems. Another interesting domain is the psychomotor domain, and this has to do with behaviors. Like, for example, bullying, as I said before, lying, having lack of commitment, that the student is not committed. So here we have, again, a hierarchy or a number of levels that we can work through. And the bottom of that pyramid is imitation, and the top of the pyramid of the psychomotor domain is naturalization. And here I'd like to consider a situation like bullying, as I said. This is a problem or a behavior that a student has. And this behavior is, unfortunately, disrupts the sequence of the class. So one solution is to consider redressing this behavior when we design activities and tasks to practice language. So one level, or working at the lowest level, we may work on students' ability to imitate a good behavior. Okay, so like, for example, bringing them a movie or a situation, a scenario, for example, of something that is the opposite of bullying, or making them aware of the consequences of bullying. And then the student has to imitate the good behavior. How to respond to a bully, for example. Working on that level, again, may take a month, for example, until that habit becomes, persistent in the student's behavior. He has the ability to imitate a good behavior. Moving up from, or moving on from that level up, we have the level of manipulation, which is being able to do the good behavior with some sort of control. He can control himself and stop bullying. So he can do the good behavior with some sort of control. After finishing that level, we have the level of precision or accuracy, that the student can control himself and do a good behavior, which is the opposite of bullying, without making errors. He can do it with balance. He does not forget and then bully, for example. And after that, we have articulation. The student can do it properly. But sometimes he misses, or he or she misses, and forgets sometimes and bullies others, but not with the same frequency as before. Repeating those actions or repeating those events with the students may then help them reach naturalization, and the value or the behavior of avoiding bullying or fighting bullying becomes part and parcel of their character and becomes a second nature or part of their nature. So working on those levels does not happen at once or at one time. you have to work on each level separately for a good span of time until you make sure that each level or each value has become a habit that the student can do effortlessly and without interruption. So once more again, you can find more details in this paper about the three levels or the three domains of Bloom's taxonomy, specifically the affective and the psychomotor domain. They are interesting and they may help you abundantly face classroom management problems, behavior problems. And one final note that behavior problems and emotional problems are not solved overnight. They need, repetitive work until they are solved. But if it happens and if you insist on integrating those domains in your tasks and activities, things will be smoother and your classes will be nicer than before. And it will be easier for you to do your job in teaching the language, because teaching the language will be part of solving other problems, and working on the development of your students will be more comprehensive and holistic. So thank you so much. I hope this benefited you in your career.